Today's topic is about shame, and shame is a gnarly one. This was a request actually from my sister to hop on Facebook Live and to talk a little more about shame. It's one of those really difficult energies to deal with. So for example, let's say that we've said something or done something maybe to someone who's a loved one in our life that we feel ashamed about. Like we wish that we didn't react or respond that way. And this happens to all of us. We all have our moments where something else comes out of us. Maybe it's a darker energy, maybe it's frustration, maybe it's anger, maybe it's something that we never intended to do, and yet for some reason we do it. It can even be lying. It can be hiding the truth, and we can feel a ton of shame around these things. We can make ourselves really wrong, and we stack up all of this self-judgment on top of ourselves. Well, that to me, the shame and the self-judgment is more detrimental than anything. Because all that it is, just in its simplest form, is that the shame arises when we did something or said something or acted in a way that wasn't in alignment with who we want to be. That's where the shame comes from. That's all it is that we wish that we didn't do it because it's not who we really are. So that's great. I want to underline that. It's not who you really are, which means that when you can come back to a place of self-love and giving yourself some forgiveness around all of it, that you're not perfect, that you're going to have your moments when you stumble, that it's okay. Because from that place, you can then get yourself back on track. You start with soothing yourself and soothing yourself from a place of self-love, letting go of the shame, releasing it, and then knowing from that place that you can take responsibility, clean up whatever mess might have been created out of it, and you'll feel far more empowered and free after you do that. The longer that you sit with the shame, the more it's going to eat away at you. And the person who's going to hurt the most out of all of that is not the other people on the other side of the coin, the ones that you may have said something to or did something to. It's going to be you. You're going to be the one who's hurting from all of that shame that you're sitting under. So take that first step by inviting in some self-love. And from that place, when you invite in that self-love, then you can move from there. So for me, for example, in my own life, shame is something that I used to feel a lot. These days, not as much, because I've been in a practice of self-love. However, when I used to feel a lot of shame around things, I could, for example, send a message to somebody and I would spend 3 days wondering if I said the right thing, if I pissed them off because they didn't respond to me. And then I would start to feel ashamed, like, oh my goodness, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And so to me, it was eating away at me, and it wasn't helping anyone. When you're in those moments, when you've got that shame going on, realize that it's hurting yourself, and it's also going to be hurting the whole situation. Now, it doesn't make it easy to step out of it, because I get it. Shame is a really ugly emotion. But just take those small steps. Take those small steps to realize that you haven't really done something that you can't come back from. We all make mistakes, and people are very patient with us when we take responsibility for our actions. So you can come back from it. Just take those really small steps to get yourself there, and do it from a place of self-love. Because at the end of the day, you are an amazing being. You are not defined by your actions. Those are things of the past, and you can move forward from a clean and clear place, especially when you choose to step into what is going to be your truth moving forward. So on that note, I wish you all an incredible Friday. Have a great evening and afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow.